Hi, I'm Randy Robison. This is Life Today TV. I'm here with Esther Spina, who has a book called The Ambitious Woman. Esther, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I have to start by asking you about the ambitious woman, because sometimes when we talk about ambitious people, whether it's men or women, it's not always a compliment.
No, I think that's the perception, that people feel like if you're ambitious, you're power hungry, or you'll run over anybody to succeed. And that's really not true. Think about this. If someone says that man is ambitious, what do most people think? That's great. He's awesome. He's ambitious. But what happens when a woman is ambitious?
Yeah, it can be unfairly pejorative in a woman's case. What do you mean by ambition?
Well, I just go to the dictionary, because really, when you look at the dictionary, it says a strong desire or determination to succeed or have success. And what's wrong with that? And really, that's the literal meaning. And so I think the book is just about helping women understand and helping them understand their greatness that they can have with God's help.
You mention a lot of things, because just the desire to succeed is not in and of itself a virtue. You have to have certain characteristics.
Right.
Tell me about some of the key characteristics.
Well, exactly. Well, being ambitious, you just can't, you're not born ambitious. So you just didn't come out in the world and say, I'm ambitious. There are traits that you develop to become ambitious. And when you develop those traits, being ambitious can be a very good thing. For instance, living an inspired life, living an encouraging life, a humble life.
Now, see, now that seems to contradict, because when I think of Donald Trump, I think of ambition, and I don't think of humility.
Well, I think that that's a misconception as well, because what you have to do is, and that could be someone's view of it. And so what I've tried to do is say, if you have these traits, they're going to help you be ambitious. Because I agree, there are some ambitious people, Randy, that are power hungry and will run over, or not full of humility. That is true, but that's the same way with anything. There are Christians that maybe act like Christians, and some that are Christians and don't act like Christians, correct? So I just try to bring out all the positives of being ambitious, being loyal, being consistent, being persistent. In the book, I talk about 15 different traits that if you work on them, you can have an ambitious life and be successful. So, you brought up the question is, well, success, is that really a good attribute possibly in the church or for women? And I just think I've been in the business world 30 years. And I just feel like that is a ministry in itself.
Sure.
And so you need to be able to minister those people and be successful, because who's going to listen to you if you're poor or you don't have any success? You're not going to have a platform. So what God has showed me through these years, and what I'm trying to show women, and by the way, men read this too, because this is not just a book for women. My ministry is to women, but I've had many, many men pick it up and say, oh my gosh, I'm going to give it to my wife or someone in my business, or they just enjoy it. But you want to be successful, because God will give you a platform to speak to people, and they will listen to you.
How do you measure success?
Well, I measure success, and not even just in material things, because that's great, and that does come with it, but you can be a successful homemaker. You can be a successful business person. You can be successful in sports. Whatever you're doing, you're going to be successful in, where people will listen to you. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Why do people listen to you? Are you successful?
Because I've been blessed to be successful. And a long time ago, God just showed me that I'm going to give you this platform in the world, and if you'll follow me and be successful, people will listen to you. Because, see, God has blessed me with a prosperous business. He has blessed me financially. He has blessed me with a great family. We have gone through up and downs, and I've had money, not had money.
Have you experienced failure on your way to success?
All through the last 30 years.
A lot of people think when they hit failure, they will never succeed.
Well, if you read my book, you're going to see about all my failures too. In fact, I probably have more failures than I do successes. But see, failures help you to your successes, and you learn in your failures. And so that's what I want people to know, women to know, that they can be whoever they want to be, whatever they desire to be.
Do you think you can learn from your failure if you continue to do the same things that cause you to fail? Or
No.
must you learn from your failure how to change?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you need to. If you fail, you got to regroup, look at why you failed, what you did. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect change. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect success. Something that I really talk about mainly in the last chapter is choices. You have to make good choices in life. And when you do make a bad choice, you just correct it. You don't go backwards. You're always moving forward and learning.
To bring that to a sort of practical level from your experience, because I know you have been very successful, is there something that happened along the way, maybe in a failure, maybe in a choice, to you personally that kind of opened your eyes and really got you on track?
Yes, a couple things that come to mind. By the way, being ambitious is not even about success. It is about being able to overcome adversity. So if you're ambitious, if you do have failures and adversity in your life, you're only going to be able to overcome them if you're ambitious enough to. So for instance, in the 90s, my husband and I are from California. We had a very successful construction company. But there was a recession then, and that's what brought us to Texas. We weren't born here, but we got here as fast as we could. Yeah. And that was a very humbling experience, because pretty much we lost everything during that season. And we had to start all over when we moved to Texas. But the thing of it is I was learning some of those ambitious traits about how to be persistent, consistent, never give up. And if you're not ambitious, when you have a failure, guess what's going to happen? You're just going to, that's it, I'm done, I give up. How many people do you know that give up?
Right.
But if you're ambitious and you have an ambitious traits, and you're not going to give up. You're going to push through and do whatever it takes to get back on top again. And that's what we were able to do, thank God, when we moved to Texas.
Oh, welcome. This is the land of success. We like to tell everybody.
But it doesn't happen overnight. What I want you to know, there's 15 traits in there, and it takes years to develop them. And I still don't even have them to perfection. It's a process. It's a learning that you do, that God brings you through. And going through so many different businesses, so many failures, so many successes, I decided, well, God pretty much told me that I needed to leave a legacy and write about it, and that my ministry was not to just be to the church.
Right.
Because this isn't a Christian book per se, but it is a book written by a Christian person that has great faith.
With Christian principles.
With
I
all
can see.
Christian principles throughout it. And I want people to read it that are not Christians. See, sometimes, and I love Christian books. I mean, I'm an avid reader. But don't you think that if you had somebody that wasn't a Christian, it'd be easier to hand them, oh, you got to read this book about this ambitious person. They've got great things in it. They're probably more likely to read it if you didn't pick it up at Mardell's or Christian bookstore. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So really, Christians, I want them to read it and they'll be encouraged and inspired. But really, I want people in the business world to read it and understand the godly principles that he put in place and why you are successful. And it kind of reaches and touches them without them even knowing really what happened.
Right. Feed them truth without having to feed them, verse by verse, chapter by chapter, right?
And because I am successful, and I don't say that prideful, because that is one thing, you can't be humble if you have pride. They can't say to me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to listen to you. You're not successful.
Sure.
Really?
Sure.
Well, or they say, you're privileged. You were always like that. No.
Yeah.
Do you know that I've lost everything at one time? And so I think I've just been blessed to go through so many experiences that it's just time to share them. And
Couple of questions. One of your chapters, and I wanted to get it right. You said ambitious women never, in all caps, never arrive. What does that mean? It sounds like you never have, you're never satisfied.
No, great question. Here's what that means. When you are successful, and you've seen successful televangelists, politicians, people famous fall, right? And they think that they're all that.
Right.
They arrived. You know, nobody can take this away from me. I'm whom I am. And I really feel it's very careful for an ambitious woman to know just because she is ambitious, just because she has a great home life, she has been successful, never take that for granted. Never feel that you've arrived, because that's when the enemy can come in and tempt you. And so I think you always have to understand that you're never just all that. You may have a limited amount of success, you may have a lot, but you've never arrived, because in this earth, in this world, we're always going to continue learning. We're always going to be growing and sharing. And so I don't want anyone to think that, oh, you're ambitious and now you've made it. Nope. You're probably just starting.
Yeah, and that's part of the humility you keep talking about. Yeah. What do you believe you are responsible to do with the success you have achieved?
This is my prayer every single day when I wake up, Randy, and I literally, when I first wake up, is say, Lord, help me to be worthy of my calling. I mean, I don't know how to, if you can put that in a nutshell. Whatever your calling is, you have to be worthy of it. And this is my calling, is to be in the business world and to share it and to be worthy of it and to not be embarrassing to the Lord and to not be afraid to share or to think I'm all that. You know, my husband and I, when we were first married, which was a long time ago, we have always worked in the ministry, as far as not on staff, but we were always lay people, raised our children in there. He was saved in the church. He was an elder at one time. So we've always worked in the church. And I always had this secret desire, like, I want to be in full-time ministry. I mean, that was a secret desire I always had. And I thought God called me to be into full-time ministry.
And by that, you thought it was work for a nonprofit, work for a church?
Yes, work for a church or be a missionary. I just thought God was going to call me to Africa or somewhere, you know? And really, for 20 plus years, I waited for that, and I never was satisfied because I thought that I had missed God's calling. And He would get us into a business, and we would be successful, and then I'd think, now God's going to call me into full-time ministry, because I would look at people, you know, and I'm going to be honest with you, I would be envious of women pastors or teachers or people on shows and think, that should be me. But just about the last couple of years, finally, through going through Gateway Church and Robert Morris, that's where I'm a member, he has a group called Kingdom Builders, and teaching that people that are in business, that is your ministry. And giving is a ministry. See, I never looked at it that way. That, if the only thing I ever did was give, that would be the ministry. But what I think you have to do is be worthy to your calling and be truthful to your calling. And so when the book came about, it was finally God said, okay, this is your calling. Do you get it? You know, stop with the other full-time ministry. You are to be in the world, and you are to share your light into the world. And He inspired me totally to write the book. All the attributes, all the traits needed, all the stories, everything in it, He gave in just a few short months through many, many years of experience. So that was a long answer, but
no, that's it. I get it.
That good. I just feel that everybody, no matter what it is, has to be satisfied with where God has put you, and don't try to be somebody else.
No, those of us who are in full-time ministry, you know, we look out and we go, well, we need more people in the world, in business and academia and all these fields who are equally called to full-time ministry where they're at. It's actually harder out there than it is inside, you know, the church or religious walls. Because
there are a lot of people in the church. You might not ever get them to church, but there's just so many,
Yeah.
In business, you have so many opportunities to pray for people, to give to people, to change their lives.
Absolutely.
And so I want to encourage Christian full-time women will get inspiration, motivational, because I think I'm more of an inspirational, motivational speaker. That's kind of, I'm not a real deep depth speaker, but I think they'll get something out of it. But I really want people that aren't in the church
Yeah.
to come to know the God that has blessed me with everything, the
Yeah.
one that has led my past, because they really don't get it. They just think it's me, like my personality, or I did something correctly, or what. No, it's totally God.
Good, wonderful. That is The Ambitious Woman. If you want to get Esther's book, you can go to her website, estherspina.com. Is that right?
Esther, like the Bible, E-S-T-H-E-R, Spina, S-P-I-N-A.com.
Great, and I do want to mention you've got a journal that goes with it. That's available on your website?
Yes, that's also there. You know, because I think a lot of, you can read a book and read a book. But I love to read a book, highlight it, tear it out, write things on the mirror. And so I did write a companion journal along with it, because I think that will help you take home with you into heart some of the things that I've tried to portray in the book. So
Great, great. Check it out. Check out our website. Check out the book, and you can be ambitious and successful too. Thank you for being with us.
thank you so much, Randy.